Hi, this is Bob from Hobbyconcepts, and today I'm here with a brand new radio from Flysky, the FS-ST8. It's an all-new 8-channel radio, uses an all-new protocol, ball-bearing gimbals, lots of switches and knobs, great programming and switch layouts for trucks and excavators and the complicated things we do. Comes with an 8-channel receiver, good price point. This is really a nice radio. I'll be using this in a lot of my upcoming builds. It just has all the features I've kind of been looking for in a mid-price radio. So we'll take a good look at it today. Let's get started. Alright, well, let's dive into this thing. Here's how I got it. Comes in a cardboard box with this nice foam protector. The transmitter, a very minimal instruction sheet, and a receiver. Now, the receiver is new, and this radio uses a different chip. We'll see later if I can hook it to any other Flysky receivers, but here we go. There's the transmitter. It's got kind of a carbon fiber look to it. Feels pretty hefty, which is good. And on the back side we've got our battery box and 2 buttons, switches, which is nice. So controls, we've got our standard gimbals, and they're clear, which is interesting. Now the Flysky says you can light them up, so I haven't looked into that yet, but we'll kind of check it out. It has 2 knobs, 4 switches, so it's got the same layout as the FS-ST8 as far as the knobs and switches go. These are interesting. These are trim buttons, and they're just kind of omnidirectional, so you can go trim up, trim down, right or left for each switch. And then up here in the corner it has a rotary self-centering knob. These are really nice. I think this radio would be really great for a rollback truck because you can use this to operate the winch, and when you let go it'll stop. And it has, so it's kind of a conglomeration of switches and knobs from their different radios. The FS-ST8X has got the same 4 switches, but it's missing the knobs. It has the rotary switches and it has the buttons, but again, no knobs. That was the thing I didn't like about this radio. I really like having the knobs. The i6 has the knobs, but no rotaries or no push buttons. So this has kind of got the best of both worlds as far as switch layout. So let's just quickly turn it on here. Press and hold. Now, very interesting. It vibrates. I can feel it vibrating. You can probably hear it. Okay, throttle lowest position. Okay. Failsafe not set. Do you need to set it? Okay, cancel. Well, they spelled cancel wrong. Sorry, Flysky. Okay, that brings us to our main screen, which has got a timer, model select, transmitter voltage. Pretty straightforward stuff. This is interesting. It's lit up. That's kind of cool. With a red LED. So we've got a menu button, an exit button, and a rotary knob. Now the rotary knob, you can roll it and then you can push it to select a function. So there's our timer at the exit. Model, we can select our model type. So that's how that works. Roll it and push it. Menu, we push the menu. We've got transmitter set, model set, receiver set, and general menu. So you roll it, push it, we'll go into the transmitter settings. So what model we want, trainer mode, stick mode, calibrating, system setting, which would be like English. Here's where we can set our vibration, our alarm time, the volume, battery type, AA batteries, LED color. Yeah, look at that, red, green, okay, blue, yellow, cyan, purple. Pretty cool. Okay, so let's just set that to green, and then look at that. We have the LED 50%, 20%. That makes it brighter. Oh, we got brightness. What's that do? Oh, that's probably our screen. And we'll set those both to 90%. What the heck? Contrast, time, and then auto shutdown. So I'm assuming you can set this. Let's see, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Let's set it to 10 minutes. Let's set 20 minutes. And then press exit to exit, exit to exit. So pretty simple to get into the menus, and it's got some pretty cool features. I'm going to actually, what I think I'll do is, the first thing I think I'll do is take it apart. So before I take the back off, let's just take a quick look at what Flysky says about this. It's on their website. It's available now. Obviously, I bought one. It comes in two different versions, the standard version and the upgraded version. The upgraded version has got, it says here, bearing assembly base. Now, my guess is it's got ball bearings in the stick, which I have not seen in their low-end radios before. It has a JR Bay adapter, which is getting to be less and less relevant. It means you can use JR modules. It comes with the throttle centering kit, but you still need to install it. Now, I've already installed it in this radio. It's the same throttle centering kit as the i6 and the i6X and the i6S. No big deal there. So the advantages to the upgraded version are, it's got the bearing sticks, it's got the centering kit. Let's see, what else do we got here? A couple things I noticed on this is it says up here in the beginning, I know you can't read this, but it says 8 to 10 channels. Now, I've looked through here, I can only find 10 channels, but I'm assuming that's something that they'll support later. It does S-Bus, which is really nice if you're using Bayer electronics, and all kinds of model features. We're going to zoom in on the screen and look at it. But first, like I said, let's get the back off. Okay, I've got the back off. Let's zoom in a little bit here, and I'll point out a couple things. This is really a nice looking radio inside. And yes, that's exactly what I suspected. This has ball bearings in it on the stick, which I have not seen in any of their low-end radios before. And that's what makes the sticks feel so nice. There's just a little plate here that covers this with a couple screws that hold it in. So I just popped that open just so I could see what was going on. And, whoops, well, I'll put that back on later. So anyway, ball bearings, nice feeling sticks. I don't really see anything specific about lighting these gimbals. They are clear. I don't see any obvious area to put an LED in, and I don't see any obvious place to, well, maybe here, to plug it in. So my guess is they're going to offer a light kit for these gimbals. Now, I don't know that for sure. I'll actually contact them and talk to them and do a follow-up later. But you can apparently light these up, which would kind of look cool. You can see our circuit boards for the push-button switches on the back cover, and our boards for the rotary knobs here, and then the switch boards up in here. Typical Flysky inside, nice and neat, everything's organized, no extra stuff. This radio took a 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench to take the back off. All the other radios use a Phillips head screw. I couldn't figure out what was going on there for a while. So yeah, pretty straightforward. This is the rotary switch here. Yeah, everything looks really good inside. I'm going to put this back together. I'll button it up and we'll play with programming. Well, we're back together. The case comes apart and it goes back together very easily. First thing I think we'll do is do a receiver binding. I assume it comes already bound, but I want to show how to do this anyway. So you hold the bind button, plug in a battery, and it'll flash. Now we'll go to our menu, and we're going to use the roller to go to receiver set, and then go to bind settings, and then start. There we go. So now we have a receiver bound. Probably should be able to just plug in a servo. And there we go. Alright, so that's how you bind a receiver. I did try to bind two receivers at the same time. Could not figure out any way where that could be done. So, okay, here's, while we're in the bind setting, well actually I'm going to zoom in on these menus, and we'll kind of go through the menus one at a time. But very smooth sticks, operates perfectly, nothing unusual. Good stuff from Flysky, as I have come to expect. Okay, let me reposition the camera here. Alright, well I'm just going to do a quick overview of some of the menus. So the first one is if you press and hold the menu button, you come up with your Servo Monitor. I use the Servo Monitor a lot. It shows the position of each stick and what it's doing. If you can't remember what switch is assigned to what channel, let's see here. Got one here. That's a knob, rotary knob right there. Probably have a switch. Yep, 3-position switch. 2-position switch. I don't know that we have anything set to channel 8 yet. And also, let's take a look here. You can look at channel 2 and you can look at our trim. And you can use this to center the trim. And then just press the exit button to go back to the main menu. Now, if you just press this quickly, you go into your setup menus, and you have transmitter set, model or receiver set, model set, and general menu. So transmitter set would be model, what model we want to select, trainer mode, stick mode. You can select between what would be considered to be mode 1 or mode 2 for you airplane guys. Calibration, we're going to exit that, but that's for calibrating the sticks. Cancel calibration, yes, okay. And then system setting, and as we saw, that's where we do the language, the sound, the volume, alarm times, if you want the vibration on, battery type. You can use LiPo batteries, nickel metal hydride batteries. I've just got AA's in here. My impression from what they tell us is about a 10-hour run time on standard AA batteries. That's kind of nice. There's our LED color and our brightness, contrast, time, 30 seconds. I wonder if that's maybe a warning time. And then auto shutdown, which I set earlier to 20 minutes. Okay, we'll go back here to receiver set. We have bind settings, fail safe, sensors. This has the ability to run sensors from the receiver, which in what we do with model trucks, or at least what I do with model trucks, is not important, but maybe in an airplane you would want to have a battery, onboard battery alarm or something. RF settings, those would be, you could turn the transmitter off, I assume, so if you want to play with this without operating a model. We have the iBus settings. Sorry, I don't want that. iBus settings, or bus settings. You can change the sensor calibration. Okay, that's what I hit by accident. You can altitude none. That's kind of cool. You could have the thing vibrate if you hit a certain altitude. That'd be awesome. GPS settings, we don't have that set. Now on the receiver set, the bind settings are where we can do the output, and we have pulse width modulation iBus or S-bus. So that's where you would set that under the bind settings. And S-Bus is nice if you're using some of the fancy electronics that we use in the trucks. Okay, let's see here. Model set. Here's where we can do our conditions. I wonder what that is. I don't know what that is. There's our dual rates. We use those a lot with the trucks. Need the dual rates. Throttle curve, throttle hold, V-tail mixing, things that you'd use for airplanes. And then our general menu is monitor, which I showed you. You can get into that by pressing and holding that button. You can also get into it this way. Servo Reverse, very straightforward. You can go to whatever channel you want and then just click it to reverse it. Endpoints. Same thing, you go to the endpoint you want and then you just push this and then dial it up and down. So that makes it real easy to set. Channel speed. Now, I looked at this earlier, but you can actually adjust the speed at what the channel operates. I don't know any great advantage to that, although I would think like on a model airplane, if you wanted the gear doors to operate really slowly, you could have a servo operate slowly, and there might be some use for it in model trucks. Auxiliary channels. Okay, so here we have channel 5 set to switch C, switch B, VRA, and channel 8 is set to none right now. So you can select, let's go down here to channel 8. So you can select between which control or knob or button you want to be on channel 8. Now, right now, not all of those buttons are shown as available. This button right here is VRD, and it's not on the list, so we're going to look at that in a little bit. Okay, trims, sub-trim basically, and then mixes. 8 mixes, wonderful for doing a little bit of programming. That's great. For example, if you were using this to run a Tamiya MFC in a truck, you could do a mix where you could use, say for example, this push button to work the horn instead of having to play with the stick. I love having a lot of mixes. Okay, back to the main menu. We can go to model, and then we'll go to model type. Now here we have the different types of models you can set the transmitter to. Delta wing, fixed wing, drone, excavator. Yeah, that's pretty sweet because it has track mixing in there. Robot, glider, helicopter, boat model, car model, no truck. Alright, come on Flysky, let's do a truck in there. Come on, just make us happy. It's not that big a deal. But you punch this for excavator, and now we have the excavator on our main menu, and we have the programming for an excavator. I looked through the programming for the various models, and there's not a lot of different programming, but for example on the excavator we have track mixing, and track mixing is wonderful. We can set it so we can drive, a track vehicle from one stick. You can also do that with programming, and I've shown that in some other videos, and I'll be using this radio in some things, so over the next 6 months you'll see this radio appear in maybe a couple different models. But it is nice to have that available. Okay, let's see here. We'll go back to airplane. I have found with most radios that the airplane mode gives me all the mixing features that I want. So that's a brief overview of the menus. So I just did a factory reset on this radio because I learned a couple things and I want to show them to you. A factory reset resets everything to the way it came, and so that means I'll have to rebind my receiver. But the one thing I wanted to show was how to set up these two knobs, VRD and VRC, and get all the channels turned on. So we'll go to our menu. We'll go to transmitter set. we'll go to switch settings, and then we need to turn those on. VRC on. I showed this in the other menu, but I'm just kind of re-going through it. And key 1 on, and key 2 on. And then we go to the next page with the roller, and we're going to set that to 10 channels. Okay, so now we've turned these on. Now if we go back and we go to our general menu, we go to our aux channels, you can see that we have nothing set because I reset the transmitter. But let's set channel 5 to the 3 position switch C. Now notice when I flip the switch, it automatically filled it in. That's kind of a cool feature. Channel 6, let's see, channel 6, 2 position switch. No, I'm gonna have to set that one. That's SWB. Okay, and let's set channel 7 to this knob right here, which is VRD. And channel 8 to VRC. Okay. So now we'll go back to our main menu. We'll press and hold this to get to the monitor. And now you can see that our knob is working channel 7 and 8. Now, here's what I learned, and it's quite important, is when you do this, when you set up those knobs for the first time, you have to calibrate the radio. So you go, otherwise they won't work. So you go to calibration. Please keep stick in center position. Start. Okay, move the sticks to the maximum travel. You can see it go there. Okay. And then now move the knobs. Okay, so now you have to move these 2 knobs to the maximum travel. And calibration successful. Now the radio will work. So now we just have to go back to our receiver set, and we'll go ahead and bind this. So I'm going to hold the bind button down and plug in the receiver here. It's flashing. Bind settings. Start. Binding. Bind successful. Okay, so now our receiver is working, and you can tell that because you notice here on the display it gives me the transmitter voltage and the receiver voltage. So now it's talking back and forth. I can plug a servo in, and there we go, we're working. So now if I plug the servo into, say, channel 7, now my little knob up here is working channel 7. Now, as I mentioned, I turned it on to 10 channels, so I'm going to grab a 10-channel receiver and we'll try to bind that and see if it works. So we did turn on the 10 channels in this radio, but it only has an 8-channel receiver. So if you want to be able to use all 10 channels, according to Flysky, we need this CVE04, which I do not have one of those right now, so I just ordered one. When I get one, I'll update it and show how to get the full 10 channels on the receiver. But with 8 channels, you still have a lot of switches, knobs you can assign to any channel, the buttons on the back. Really a versatile transmitter that really feels good. So when I get that, I'll do a little update video. Well, there we go. That was my little quick video on the new Flysky FS-ST8 radio. I really like this radio. It's going to go in a bunch of my trucks when I use what I would consider to be a less expensive radio. So now in the future when I build rollback trucks or trucks that require more channels or more knobs and buttons, this is going to be my go-to radio. It feels good. The stick feeling is great. It has a very intuitive programming. It looks kind of cool. The only thing I don't like is, you know, you got a 10-channel radio with an 8-channel receiver. But with that little add-on, that'll make it a full 10 channels. And yeah, very functional radio. I actually think this would be a good radio to fly airplanes with. The stick feeling is that good. So anyway, yeah, and it looks nice. Nice looking case, interesting little carry handle. And I want to find out about these lighted gimbals too, because I think that'd be cool to see what those look like lit up. So there we go, the new Flysky FS-ST8 radio. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up. I always like those. Subscribe to my channel. More videos coming. Thank you for watching.